Hey, how's it going? Hope you're all doing great. Hope you're having a fantastic Tuesday. Today we're going to be doing ourselves a baked sweet potato. We're also going to have some lovely vegetable chili we're going to make as well to put in there. We're going to have some nice cheese, lime yogurt, some jalapenos, and maybe finish off with a few cheeky spring onions. So very nice, delicious, but healthy. Another dish to do today. So hope you guys and gals are going to enjoy it. So thank you so much for tuning in. Let's grab our sweet potatoes. We need to turn the oven on. Really important. Well, it kind of does if you want to bake it, right? To 350 Fahrenheit or 180 Celsius. So oven's on. So we got that preheating. We got our two sweet potatoes here. Delightful. What we're going to do, we're going to poke them. The reason why we want to poke them is the same with normal potatoes. As they like heat up in the oven, sometimes, not always, but it's happened to me before. I was like, I'm going to test it out, and it happened. It exploded. If you don't pierce them to let out the steam, sometimes they will explode inside your oven, and they'll make a hell of a mess. It's happened to me many a times because I was like, that's a wives' tale. It's a load of rubbish. And I did it one day, and it did explode, and I was like, well, there you go. It does happen. So always pierce your potatoes. We're going to give them a wash first, though, but always pierce your potatoes so you can let the steam out of them while they're cooking so they don't go pop. Gives a little cheeky, shall I say, stab. So you're just basically making sure you're putting pocket holes in there so the steam can escape when it's cooking. So there we go. Right, so what we're going to do, just pop them in there, and what we want is just a little bit of salt. Where's he rolling off to? So a little pinch of salt. We will have a little drop of oil. I'm going to like talking very, very small amounts. Where is my... Oh, it's here. Perfect. Just like a little, half a teaspoon is all we need. We don't want a lot. There we go. Beautiful. Anyway, these potatoes are going in the oven. They're going to take about an hour. We're going to have a little check on them then. If we need about another hour and a half or 40 minutes, we can give it more time. So I'll put a timer on my phone just for an hour, and then we'll have a look at them and see what's going on. Start off with the onion first. Right, so we're going to cut this down nice and horizontally with my cheeky sharp knife, and then cut down vertically, still keeping the root intact. So we're just going to dice this up very nicely. Obviously, the more finer lines you can get into this, the more finer dice you're going to get out of it. It's quite simple, really. And obviously, if you can't do this first time round, don't worry. Just keep practicing, keep trying. You'll get the hang of it, and just take your time. Don't rush it. I know I go quite fast with this, so speed comes over time. If you try and force speed, you'll end up having an accident. So, you know, just take your time with it. Speed will come eventually. Meow, meow. Right, where are we at now? Meow. Right, so we're going to grate these cheeky garlics down over the garlic, over the onions, sorry. So grate this down nice and fine into a nice little puree. As I said, if you want to use a garlic crusher or anything else, you can do. Whatever takes your fancy. So we're going to go grab a large saucepan. We're going to switch this over as well. And pop this onto a medium highest heat, about 6 out of 10. With a tablespoon of vegetable oil or canola oil. So let's pop this in here. Bloop. There we go, good to go. So I'm just going to wait for that to heat up before adding the onions and garlic. Right, so you're going to pop this into the pan. So it's going to start sizzling down very nice and gently. We don't want it on too high. We don't want it to burn. If it does caramelize, don't worry, it's fine, just as long as it doesn't burn. That's all you're after, really. So we're going to start softening this down little by little, so it's going to cook down very slowly and steadily, just for about a minute or two, and then we're going to start adding the other vegetables. So keep an eye on it, give it a little cheeky stir as well. Just grab my spoon. I'm just going to pull this off the stove before it starts burning. It's caramelizing nicely, but we're all good. So the tomatoes are there, so I'm going to drop them in 2 seconds. I want to get the celery done first, and the carrots, and I'm going to drop it all in, and the peppers obviously. So I'm being too busy yibby yabbing. So so we're going to peel the celery down. So we've diced up the tomatoes, they're good to go, and we're going to peel the outside of the celery. And if you're going to be asking me, Chef, why are you peeling the outside of the celery? Well, the reason for it, I'm not a huge fan of the texture of celery, but I love the flavor. So if you actually peel the outside, you can actually get rid of the stringiness. So that's why I do it. So it's a little trick for you. If you're the same as me and not a big fan of the texture and the stringiness, you can just peel the outside and still have that great celery flavor. So we've given it a wash, making sure as well all the dirt is out of it. So let's dice this up very, very nicely. Watch your fingers. Now for the carrot. Actually, no. Yeah. They're all going to get diced up. They're going in the same time anyhow, so we're all good. So let's dice up the carrot. Just very carefully. Watch your fingers when you're doing that. If you find it easier to do it another way, please feel free to find another way that's a little bit more safer if you want to, if you're not confident with your knives. Or you can always grate it if you want to. That's also another option, I guess. But you want to dice this up. The more practice you do with your knives, the better. And obviously make sure your knives are sharp. Using a blunt knife, especially on carrots, very dangerous. So it's always got to be super sharp. Okay, I'm going to do the pepper next because I'm going to get more room on this. So we've got the diced carrots, we've got our diced celery and tomatoes. So I'm going to put the pan back on the heat. I'm going to pop these straight back in. So let me switch this over so you guys and gals can see. So without trying to slip it all on my stove. Carrots are going in. So carrots are in, beautiful. Now the celery. And then those cheeky little tomatoes as well. Whoa! Nearly knocked my camera over. Look at that, magic. Hashtag pro streamer. So there's like two ways of doing the pepper, right? You can cut it in half, snap it in half, take the seeds out, you're good to go. Now if you want them flat, I would recommend cutting them into cheeks and then taking the tops off. Then your cheeks will actually be a lot more flatter and they won't break. So for this today, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to cut this straight in half because I'm not really too fussed about the cheeks being flat or anything like that. But if you're doing like a julienne or something like that, then it's kind of important. So just going to take these off. Take all the white out as well. It's all a bit of the seed. So just open this up as well. There you go. Just take all that pith off. Beautiful. So there we go. So let's get rid of this. Okay. So it's always my way of doing things. So people say, Chef, that's not how you traditionally do it. I'm like, yeah, I know. This is my way of doing it. So without upsetting too many people. Right, so we're going to dice this down into a nice little dice. Watch your fingers. Beautiful. There we go. Magic. Let's do the other three as well. Sorry. Peppers are ready. Let's rock and roll. Let's pop these into the pot as well. So these are going in as well. And then we're going to start adding the spices in there with the paprika, the cumin, a little bit of cayenne as well, bit of jalapenos in there as well. So we're going to get all the lovely spices and things in there now. So let's give this a nice little mix. It's looking fantastic. So we're going to get this nice and tasty. Lots of flavors, some beautiful vegetables, beautiful flavors in there already. So, and then we're going to add the, I've got some kidney beans we're going to add to this to make it a little bit more kind of chili style, or vegetable chili style at least. So we can get some of that heat out. We don't want it like super hot. Now you get different types of like jalapenos depending on how hot they are. You can get some really kind of super hot jalapenos if you're not careful. So just be careful with the heat. Unless you like that kind of heat, then obviously add it. Let's dice this up very nicely. Watch your fingers. Using that middle finger for a little bit of guidance. Just drop this in. Beautiful. So let's give this a nice little mix around. So that's going to cook down very nicely. So we've got some kind of spice in there. Not too spicy, because the jalapeno is not that spicy in my opinion. I am going to add a little bit more heat to it. So half a teaspoon of cayenne. Cayenne pepper can be very, very spicy. So don't go adding teaspoon after teaspoon, otherwise it'll blow your head off. So just about half a teaspoon should be fine for what we want. Right, there we go. A teaspoon of dried oregano. So a little bit of black pepper. Quarter a teaspoon. You don't need to go too crazy with it, and you can adjust it later on if you want to. And also, when I say like kind of seasoning, when I say seasoning, it's only salt. If you actually know that black pepper is actually not a seasoning, a lot of chefs have tried to turn it into seasoning and they use it in everything. But I mean, I use a lot of pepper, but I don't call it seasoning. It's more of a spice rather than a seasoning. Okay, I want a bit of bay leaf in here as well. Sorry, I'm just trying to fish it out. Yeah, that'll do. One little bay leaf in there. Perfect. Just don't forget to take it out afterwards. That's the only thing. Or if you want to tie it up on a piece of string, you can do, I guess. Let's add the tomatoes. And also, I'm not going to throw this away. We're going to add that with a bit of water, slosh it around, and then pour that straight back in. Get all that beautiful flavor in there. Now, if I'm using tomatoes, my favorite tomatoes are kind of like plum tomatoes to use for like kind of cooking with. Say, for example, with like this or bologneses or anything like that. It's got kind of tomato base into it. So we've got low sodium, dark red kidney beans. So these are dark red kidney beans, but you know, you can use whatever beans you want. Whether you want to use pinto beans, black beans, you know, whatever takes your fancy. But we're going to go with the kidney beans because, you know, chili usually has kidney beans with it. So let's give this a nice little mix up. So look at all those beautiful kidney beans in there. The tomatoes, all the vegetables. Look at all the beautiful spices. Looking fantastic. Come on, camera. You can do it. Come on. There we go. Fantastic. So we're going to get this cook down, sorry, for about a good hour. So I'm going to add a little slosh of water into it to stop it from catching because it's quite thick in there. If you want to add vegetable stock, you can do. Whatever takes your fancy. Honestly, water will be fine. It will still be very tasty. But, you know, if you really want to go with veggie stock, that's fine. I had sweet potatoes properly for a long, long time, so... Yeah, they're going to need longer. So we're going to give them another... I'd say another hour or so, to be honest with you. Because they're pretty firm. So, I don't even need to open them because I want to keep the steam in. You can see some of the steam kind of escaping a little bit. So, I'm going to pop these back in. I'm going to take another hour, so roughly about 2 hours then. Depending on the size, if they're a bit smaller, they may be like almost done, so they might need another 20 minutes. But I'm going to say another hour at least. And then we can just crack on with the spring onions and the lime yogurt and all the other lovely things and get the cheese sorted. So we're going to open these up. It's really kind of important when it comes to spring onions or scallions. Make sure you give them a really like kind of nice wash out because usually you find like soil and dirt inside. So, you know, making sure that you give them a really good thorough clean. So first we're going to do is just top and tail, or take the bottoms off, sorry. What we're going to do is run the knife down and open up the spring onion itself, and we're going to give it a nice little wash. Fantastic. So I'm going to slice these up really nicely here now. Right, so we're just going to dice this up really nicely. Cool. So spring onions are rocking and rolling, they're good to go. Let's get on with the lime yogurt, and then we're going to decide what cheese we're going to do and then slice it and get that like ready to go. So we're going to get about, I don't know, roughly two or three dessert spoons will be fine. Actually, I'm going to use the rest of it because there's like very little amount. I don't really want to put that back in my fridge, so, you know, that's fine. So let's get rid of that. Because yogurt in general is pretty acidic anyway, or quite sharp, shall we say. To bring out the flavor, we're going to use not rice vinegar. I'm saving that's for tomorrow for my sushi. Medina vinegar, so just a little bit of that. A little bit of honey, and then we're going to add the lime juice as well, so just a little touch. Don't want to go too crazy with this. About a teaspoon of cheeky sweetness. So when it comes to like kind of limes, to get the most juice out of things, you kind of want to make sure you kind of roll it, and what it's going to do is just going to help soften it up, so when you squeeze the lime, it's a lot easier to squeeze and you get more juice out of it. So just give it a nice little kind of roll. Don't have to force yourself or put too much pressure on it, just let it roll naturally. You should be good, and then hopefully you shouldn't have any issues squeezing it, or it should be a lot more easier to squeeze so you can get more juice out of it. There you go. Yogurt is ready to rock and roll. We're going to get the cheese out in a second. All that beautiful flavor starting to kind of accumulate. Look at that. Look at that already. It's looking beautiful. So we're going to have a little taste in a bit to see how spicy and hot it is. If I need a little bit more kick in it, I'll add a little bit more. I don't want to make it too hot, though. But yeah, I love Baby Swiss. Baby Swiss is great. Okay, so let's grate this in. Monterey, I find Monterey a very kind of almost like a neutral cheese. It's very doesn't have a lot of depth into it. It's very cheddar. It's not, there's nothing, I don't ever find anything to it. It's nice, but there's no like kind of depth and flavor to it. There's a little bit of flavor to it. I mean, it doesn't taste of nothing, but maybe I'm comparing this to like my own experience with like British cheeses, right? So yeah, it's very plain. It is very plain. It's very standard. So, you know, people who don't like it too strong, I guess that's perfect for them, right? Everyone's different. Now, this is my favorite. English Coastal. Very, very nice. I'll pop this into a bowl. Delicious. Now, sweet celery is very kind of diverse, kind of. It's pretty much part of the mirepoix kind of what you need for mirepoix, pretty much. You can even use it for like roast chicken. So here's our sweet potato. It's very hot. It's very soft. Oh my goodness me. Hot potato! It's good to go. So super, super soft. Very straightforward kind of dish to do. Let's open that up a little bit. Beautiful. Right, so let's go with the mixed cheese. So we got Coastal cheese, Monterey, and Baby Swiss in here. So very kind of diverse. Then we're going to have a little bit of chili, the vegetable chili on top, because, you know, because we can. Don't be sharing the chili as well. There we go. And then we're going to have a little bit more cheese, not too much, because we can. And then, oh, wait. A little dollop of yogurt as well. Or lime yogurt, shall I say. Maybe a touch more. And you can go with like, if you want to do, if you don't want yogurt, you can go with like kind of creme fraiche or, you know, other alternatives if you want to. It's entirely up to you. And then just a little bit of scallions or green onions, whatever you want to call it. Just to kind of pretty much keep it simple and finish it off. There you go. It's as simple as that. Not a complicated food today. Healthy, yet delicious. Great for your veggies as well. Nice veggie dish. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. Thank you so much for all the love and support and hanging out. I hope you enjoyed the 2 dishes we did. I'll be back tomorrow with sushi and chicken katsu for tomorrow at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Guys, have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.